Hi everyone!
My friends, we just got back from a rather long, extended vacation to the United States of America, my native land, and it was actually her first time ever going there. And now you hear a lot about Donald Trump's America, what life is like in Donald Trump's America. And to make matters worse, most of our time was spent in Bismarck, North Dakota. North Dakota, a red state. Now, Imabelle, you were around many people that voted for Donald Trump. Why don't you tell us how horrible it was to be around these kind of deplorable people?
Horrible? I loved it.
Well, my friends, I don't mean to make this a political video. My point is that people throw this term around, Donald Trump's America, and they try and do it to paint a very bleak, negative picture. And of all places, we were in a red state around many different Donald Trump supporters. And I have friends that have voted for Trump, have voted for the other person. I have friends that are people that voted for no one because they didn't like either option, and certainly I can understand and respect that as well too. But even though America is definitely so divided these days, if you go to a place like North Dakota, you would never even know, because mostly it seems what you see in a place like that is people living their life, enjoying their families, having good times, getting along together. And Imabelle, this was your first time in the United States, and of course the United States is very different from each other depending where you go. What did you think of Bismarck, North Dakota?
Well, whatever the stories on TV that I saw painted about America, that's exactly the opposite of what I've experienced in Bismarck, North Dakota. I love Bismarck, I love North Dakota. It's because of the people. They're very friendly, they're very peaceful, loving, and I just really loved it.
And of course, you are amongst my family, which is really your family as well. But what are some of the great moments that you enjoyed when we were in Bismarck?
I enjoyed visiting the tourist attractions in Bismarck. They're so amazing, such as going to the National Heritage Center. Of course, the rifle shooting with Grandpa. He's 93 years old, and that was really fun. That was so cool.
Was that your first time shooting a gun?
That was my first time to shoot a gun, and this is a very remarkable experience to be taught by an expert.
Yeah, because that's actually my grandfather's passion. That gun that you shot, Grandpa's had, I think, for about 79 years, I think he said. He got that gun 79 years ago, and it's so well made. And he always enjoys teaching his passion, which is not only shooting, but he loves to talk about hunting and fishing. That's really what that guy lives for. So it was like he had so much fun being able to share that with you.
Yes, I also enjoyed going to Fort Abraham Lincoln State Park, or did I say it right?
Yes.
Yes, and just going to these amazing tourist attractions. But the very important, the most remarkable experience I had was simply spending quality time, bonding time with the family, especially with our 93-year-old grandpa.
And I know that you loved spending all this time with Grandpa, hearing his stories, not just about hunting and fishing, but he has so much to teach younger people about life in general. He's lived a very colorful life, and something about my grandpa, other than my father, he's the most honest man that I've ever met. He's just got this incredible character, and you don't find many people like that around in society. Maybe you find a few more of them around places like North Dakota, but it was also very special when we made a trip to Grandpa's hometown where he grew up, Strasburg, North Dakota, and that was different than Bismarck because that's very much a small town with a unique history of its own.
It's really hard for me to label one experience as the best and the others as, you know, not really great, because all of them are really awesome experiences when I was in America. And I also loved it that I was able to finally try venison sausage that was actually made by Grandpa.
He shot the deer himself.
Right. I was also able to try Kuchen.
If you don't know what Kuchen is, it's kind of a German cake. It's very popular in North Dakota, but sadly, it's kind of dying out because modern women, these lost arts like cooking, they're dying out with them. The younger generations aren't into it, so unfortunately things like Kuchen, Nifla soup, those could be dying out a little bit, and I think it is important that we preserve some of those special traditions and part of our history. But when we went to Strasbourg, you saw this tiny little town, and you saw how friendly people are there, where total strangers will just invite you into their home. One was a stranger, and it turned out, I realized when I was editing the video, from some of what she said and some of what Grandpa said, because Grandpa built the house for her grandparents, and he also mentioned that that was his cousin. So then I figured it out that we're actually related to that one nice woman, and I don't even think she knew that we're related. At the time, we didn't know we're related to her, but that was also very special. She gave my dad free pickles, and then she said, hey, come over to the neighbor's house, and the neighbor had pickles too. And not only that, but the neighbor was a dressmaker.
And she also gave us Kuchen, remember? And
she gave us Kuchen.
And the highlight of the trip for me personally is Grandpa and Dad bought you a very lovely dress that I can wear for hosting or just to attend a party.
Yeah, because she also hosts weddings, she hosts parties, she hosts events, so she needs good formal wear. And what really appealed to my dad was he saw that orange dress hanging in there, and at first he wasn't thinking about buying it. He just wanted you to try it on because he thought, hey, that would go really good with your black hair, because it'd be kind of like Halloween. Those are Halloween colors, orange and black. So he wanted to see it on you, and then once Dad saw it on you, he knew he had to get it for you. And then Grandpa walked in and he saw you in the dress, and then he said, oh, hey, that's beautiful. And Dad said, hey, I'm buying that for her. And then Grandpa just chimed in, I'll pay for half of it. So that was pretty amazing.
I also enjoyed going with Mom, just hanging with Mom to buy the groceries, to cook food. I am not really good at cooking. That's not my forte. But I remember Mom taught me how to make a frozen strawberry jam, and of course the other foods that I like, just like pasta, burgers, and a lot more.
And every time you would go out around Bismarck or around North Dakota, I felt like we'd meet such friendly, special people. And something that occurred to me that I kind of forgot about, because even though I grew up in Bismarck, I moved away and living in Los Angeles and not getting back much over the years, and now living in the Philippines, and I have not been able to get back very much throughout the years. One thing that I forgot about, which is very contrasting from many different parts of the world or many different parts of the United States even, was how non-judgmental people in North Dakota are. And what I mean by that is, if someone drives an old beat-up car, people aren't going to say, hey man, I don't want to associate with that guy, I don't want to talk to that guy. They can still be friends with that. Now maybe they'll kind of tease them a little bit and give them some good-natured ribbing, but it's not going to be an issue like, oh, that guy's a loser, I don't want to hang out with that guy. And if you contrast that to a place like Los Angeles, where they judge people by what they drive or what they do for a living, that's another thing. In North Dakota, you can work at Target or Walmart or someplace, and they can be friends with someone that's a doctor, and it's not that big of a deal. A place like Los Angeles, one of the first questions that people ask you when they meet you is, what do you do for a living? And that's because they're wanting to know is, can you help them out in some way? What can you do for them? So it does these things in North Dakota, they don't really seem to matter so much compared to most parts of the United States, compared to those much bigger cities where it seems like you have this culture of everyone's trying to get something from someone. In North Dakota, all different types of people, regardless of what they drive, what they do for a living, people understand That might be the type of car that guy drives, but it's not who he is as a person. That guy might have a job that's lower rung in society, but that's not who he is as a person. And it's kind of funny because many of these places like New York and California that talk about tolerance, it seems like they're actually the least tolerant places out of anywhere.
One of the things I miss about North Dakota is there's no pollution. I'm not sure if there is. It's not as bad as where I am right now. And I like it because it's always very refreshing. Whenever I get up in the morning, I just know it's another refreshing day for me. And making new friends, meeting the family members and relatives of Travis, they just made that trip more special to me.
I'm so glad that out of all the places in America, most of your time was spent in one of the best places in America. And some people, they'd even comment, I see North Dakota is one of the least visited states. That must mean it's not very good. Really, that just means it's a very well-kept secret. Now, I have to say that North Dakota and Bismarck has changed, and not always for the better, from when I grew up there. Bringing in different types of people, sometimes they don't adhere to the same norms. When I grew up in Bismarck, it was much more of a small town feel, and we didn't really have any crime when I was growing up, because I think there was always a sense of, it was still, even though it's a mid-sized city, there's always a small town feel that if you were going to be a jerk to someone or wrong someone, you're probably going to end up having to run into that person a lot in the future, see their relatives and friends a lot. So it kind of kept people in line. And like my ancestors, they're from small town Strasburg, North Dakota. Everyone like in Bismarck at that time, their grandparents and such came from small towns like that. So it had that small town culture. But now, of course, with the oil boom and all the jobs, the low unemployment there's so many people moving from other states that are coming there, and as a result we've seen some negative results, such as an increase in crime. However, compared to most other places in the US, certainly compared to a place like California, I mean, it's a world of difference. You talk about the pollution, you don't see litter around there, the air is clean. You know, here in the Philippines, one of the biggest complaints that I have is noise pollution and how loud it was. It was just quiet and peaceful, just generally a very happy place. Now, of course, North Dakota people are so great, but even them, not everyone is so great. So you love the people in North Dakota that you met. You didn't really have any experiences meeting anyone that was really bad to you or mean to you. It's amazing seeing how people treated her in North Dakota. They treated her just like she's one of them, treated you like you weren't a foreigner. You were never, I can't think of an instance when you were actually treated like a foreigner.
I saw a comment on one of the videos saying like, oh, are you being treated bad there? Do they discriminate you and all this?
Well, they weren't asking that. They said, oh, you must be, how many people asked you if you're a maid?
That's actually
you're around all those racist people. And it's like, what a stupid, that was from a Filipino person.
Right.
But what a stupid comment. Most people, not only were you not treated like a foreigner, you were totally accepted in by people. And you talk about people commenting on your English, they'd say, oh, you're not from here? Wow, you speak good English. And then you can say, yeah, and she's only been in the United States for a week. My God, what a quick learner.
I remember calling the airlines, and the agent that assisted me, she was like, really? You were not born in America? So that was another heartwarming remark from her, because she said, you really speak English very well. And as a Filipino, I would say that is really a great remark. And of course, I did my part to be able to speak that level of English.
Well, I would say that you did your country proud, not only just in terms of being able to speak English well, but just your behavior in general. And people were so, not just my family, who of course love you very much, but just people that you would meet around town. They were just so impressed with how nice you are, and it's just really wonderful watching you get along so well with people.
Dad's friends even asked me if I know some Filipino women who are like me that they could possibly meet and be friends with.
Well, there's not many Filipino women or even people on the planet Earth quite like you. I'd say you're a very unique, special woman, Imabelle. So finding a woman for them that's like you, that would be very tough.
They say Filipinos are known to be very hospitable. I would say Americans, particularly the parents of Travis, his family, are very hospitable and loving. And I think that is one very important factor why my trip went very well and became very, remarkable and something that I would never forget for the rest of my life.
Not only that, but I have to say our main purpose for going was for a funeral. My grandmother died. You're actually wearing her favorite color right now, red.
Right.
That was Grandma's favorite color. She died at age 92. She lived a long life. Unfortunately, you didn't get to meet her, but because we went for a funeral, it was so great that not only did you meet my grandpa, you're with my parents again, you got to meet so many more of my relatives, aunts, uncles, cousins,
right.
And I know you had a wonderful time with them.
Yes.
The question that people have been wanting to know is, did we miss being away from the Philippines? So Imabelle, did you miss the Philippines?
Actually, I did not miss the Philippines when we were there.
Yeah, I have to say too, I didn't miss the Philippines at all. It's not that I don't love the Philippines as well. I'm just very blessed that I get to go around going to different places, and I'm always being a happy, grateful guy no matter where I go. At least I try to be. And I didn't miss the Philippines because I think that this trip was the most wonderful time of our life that we've ever shared together. It's out of all my years on planet Earth, I'd have to single out that was the best time of my life. Even better than some of my great accomplishments. It was just pure happiness. And I remember one night you came in and you said, geez, I don't really want to leave here. I wish we could just stay here. And I said, yeah, actually, it's like you read my mind. I was thinking the same thing. I don't feel like leaving either, but you have some professional commitments to fulfill here in the Philippines. I have some professional commitments to fulfill, so we had to come back for that. So we're just very happy to be able to do what we're doing, and we love seeing all your guys' thoughts. We got so much great feedback about how many of you guys thought that series of videos that we did in the United States was the best thing that I've ever done. And I think I'd have to agree with you, just because that was my most happy time in life ever. And I've had so many happy times, but that really takes the cake for me.
And seeing all your wonderful comments, it just makes us even happier that we're able to share with you our experience and share with you different information through the experience that we show you in our videos.
Thanks, guys.